I'm telling you, filming in these hotel rooms has been a bit of a challenge. Take a look at some of the fun and copious crafting supplies that I've brought with me to keep myself occupied. I would be like rummaging through the garbage, as I always do, taped together with gaff tape from the theater because that's the only thing I could find. So I was like, perfect, I know exactly what yarn to buy, I know exactly what needles to use, and I probably won't even have to swatch it. Hello friends, and welcome to day one of my 2023 Vlogmas series. And today is a very exciting day because you are joining me on opening night. We will be premiering our show today, which means that you will get to see some clips from our opening night. It also means that tomorrow morning, fairly early in the morning, we will all be loading ourselves and our luggage onto a bus and doing our very first travel to the first city, the first non-rehearsal city of the tour. So I thought, let's open this vlog with me packing all of the crafting supplies that I am going to be bringing with me in order to keep myself busy on some very long travel days. So I've got quite the pile of crafting supplies back here, and I was like, let's just go through it all. Y'all can see what I'm bringing with me, some of the things I'm going to be working on in the coming 6 weeks, and we'll just start it off on a bit of a crafty note. Then later we can hop on over to some fun circus related content for opening night, and maybe we'll finish the vlog off with the first of our vintage patterns that I've brought with me. So let's take a look at what all's in this pile here. Okay, we've got a bit of a funny angle going on down here, but I'm telling you, filming in these hotel rooms has been a bit of a challenge. So we're just gonna sit on the side of the bed and look at the immense supply of Christmas crafting things I have brought with me. So if you watched my last video, then you saw I have a bunch of knitting things, a bunch of wool that I purchased. So I have brought some of that with me here. I have several skeins of that we'll be going through, but that's not actually my first knitting project. The first one I have is going to be using these guys right here. And it's going to be using this pattern as well. There is a reason for that. It is that I bought these way before I bought the mystery yarn bundle, and I bought them because it was going to be a super easy knitting project, and that is very much what I'm kind of in the mood for right now. I found the pattern on Instagram from this account right here, and I messaged her. She not only sold me the pattern, but she also told me exactly what yarn she used and what size needles. And it's a very flexible pattern because it's all knit in this ribbed knit. There's a lot more flexibility in the sizing than maybe some of the other vintage patterns. So the sizing that she knitted in should fit me. So I was like, perfect, I know exactly what yarn to buy, I know exactly what needles to use, and I probably won't even have to swatch it. So think that I'm just going to use that as like a quick, easy way to ease myself into the first knitting project for the season. So that's what's coming with me, and probably one of the first things I'll be knitting. One of the first things I'll be sewing are, of course, all of my knitting bags. So I did not have time to really get them sewn together. Well, all I managed to do before the tour was I cut out the circular bottoms using a bowl because I wasn't sure what the bowl supply on tour would look like if I would find something of the good size. So I've got the bottoms cut out, and then I will be probably starting to sew this together, maybe even on the bus tomorrow. Not entirely sure, but I would love to get the knitting bag together because I have been using my Crazy Quilted bag for pretty much everything on tour. It's been hauling all of my training stuff between the hotel and the theater, but also I'm kind of like, now that I'm going to start crafting, it would be kind of nice to have a crafting bag or two. So gonna be making these up, probably gonna make both of them up because I love both of them, and as many of you said in the comments, you can never have too many crafting bags. Then I'm not sure if I'm going to use this, but I have this fun green gingham in case I want to do some chicken scratch, which I found a couple examples at a antique shop by my house recently, and absolutely thought it was super cute, a really fun way to make a vintage style apron, and also kind of exactly the right level of complicated or not complicated things that I want to be sewing on tour. Like, this is going to be fairly straightforward and fairly easy to make. So that's why I have the gingham. Then I was thinking about it. Everyone loved the Crazy Quilt video so much, and I enjoyed it, and it was the perfect portable project. So I was like, you know what? Maybe I'm just gonna do some Christmas crazy quilting too. So I have decided I think I'm gonna try and do some stockings. So I have some fabrics that I brought with me from the thrift store, but I've also been kind of acquiring Christmas colored fabrics around here. So I started out, I got just some plain muslin for the sort of backing of the crazy quilt. And then I also have like this bundle of Christmas color themed fabric, and then I have some scraps from the show, which is very fun. Like every time the costume department would just like trim something off, I would be like rummaging through the garbage, as I always do. So I've got some super fun green sparkles sequins, and then some red velvet. Felt like I had one other option in here, but for now I've just got some really bright Christmas scraps from the show, which is going to be a very fun memory to include in this crazy quilt. Oh, and then I got one green rickrack. And then the rest of the fabric in here is thrifted, because originally I was thinking, oh, maybe I can do some sort of garment on tour. Now that I've already made one garment on tour, I'm not in a big rush to make another one, because it was not the most enjoyable experience, especially because I'm trying to film it, and it's so hard to film large projects in these tiny spaces with bad lighting. So I'm like, you know what, maybe no garments. In terms of thrifted fabric that was maybe originally going to be like a Christmas kirtle or a Christmas skirt, I got this really fun, it is supposed to be a tablecloth, a very fun Christmas tartan, kind of sparkly, very synthetic. I don't care, it's fun and bright and I love it. Then another Christmas tablecloth, this time in a little bit more muted tones. This one was the original one that I had grabbed thinking that I would try it out for a garment. So I have some clips of me in Goodwill like testing the drape and everything. So if I use a little bit of it for some Christmas stockings, I should still have enough to make a Christmas skirt maybe the next year. Then there was this fun, like maybe fat quarter-ish size piece of quilting cotton with these chubby little gingerbread that look so delectable and cute, and I love them. And also good to have greens, because I have kind of a big lack of greens so far in my fabric stash. Then just some red linens, which were a good color, and I grabbed them also because I loved the edge here. And then the last thing that I have is a couple placemats that are this very fun sparkly gold, and they've got some nice embroidery on there. And I was originally thinking, oh, those could be some fun accents on my skirt, but now they can be some fun accents on my crazy Christmas quilt stocking. I do have a various handful of notions with me that I brought. So a handful of, you know, just mostly red and green embroidery floss, as well as some regular thread, and then a ton of knitting related supplies, because, you know, if I'm making a knitting bag, I want to make sure that it can like fit most of my knitting stuff. So I brought kind of all of my knitting stuff with me here, as well as this little guy. I'm probably not going to use this all, but it is just to make sure that my knitting bag can, like, you know, that I'm thinking of what all I need to put in it. So those are the plans, like long term for the whole contract, but there is one plan that I have specifically for right now, today. One of the things I want to make sure I do before I leave this hotel here is to go find a stocking pattern and print it off, because I noticed that this hotel has a free printer, which I'm not sure if all the hotels on our tour are gonna have one. So I'm gonna go downstairs and just Google a stocking pattern that looks good, and that way I can kind of get started on setting up some of the scraps for my crazy quilt stocking project. So let's go get that printed off. Here it is, all printed off, cut out, and taped together with gaff tape from the theater, because that's the only thing I could find. So it's okay. I will say that this size right here, this is 75% of the original pattern. I did printed out at 100% the first time, and it was huge. So if you want to follow along and use the same pattern that I'm using, which is linked down below, just be aware that you might not want to do 100% scale, or if you do, you're gonna have a giant stocking, which is fine. Giant can be fun, just like for me, this is my ideal size. So this is all printed off and ready to go. However, they did change our call time. It is opening day. It's a little bit chaotic around here, so I'm not gonna have time to get started on like laying out the fabrics, but at least now it's printed off. So if the future hotels down the road don't have a printer, I'm not stuck trying to freehand a stocking because my free-handed drawing skills are lacking. And for those of you who are dying of curiosity to know which colors I decided to bring from the mystery bundle, I kind of grabbed at random, but I have the 2 walnuts, the 1 burgundy red wine, 2 West Point blues, the 1 lavender skein, and 2 of the darker purples. So I don't actually know, but I kind of figured this might give me some options. I don't have to use them. I can wait till I have a better game plan, or I can just make up a game plan with what I have on hand. We'll see, but now you know which colors I have with me. Just moving over here and finishing packing up the large suitcase, and that reminded me that one of the things I'm super excited about is that once we hit the road, I've decided it's gonna be acceptable to break out the Christmas decorations. This is something that I've always done because we have always traditionally been traveling and working and not home for Christmas. Sometimes in countries that don't even either celebrate Christmas, or here like in Florida, it's a warm Christmas, which just, it feels so unnatural to me. So it's always been a tradition for me, who comes from a family that celebrates Christmas very secularly, but very heavily. We love Christmas over in my household, and I do too. So I've always traveled with some form of Christmas decoration to set up in the hotel rooms, just to kind of make it feel a little bit more cozy, a little bit more homey. So in this case, I found some garland at Goodwill, and I have some twinkle lights in my bag as well, and we're gonna set up a little cozy fireplace on my iPad. It's gonna be like a whole thing, and I can just quickly wrap it up and throw it in the suitcase and bring it with me, but that way it just kind of makes it feel a little bit more like home for the holidays. So I am quite looking forward to that. So I'm gonna head into the theater, and next thing you'll see is probably some clips of our opening night. So opening night was a great success. Everything went really well, really smoothly. The audience was a lovely audience, so kind and energetic, and it's always so nice to have people in the house giving you that energy, especially after, you know, almost 2 weeks of rehearsals where you're basically trying to give full energy, but there's nobody in the house to sort of build that energy off of. So it was super, super nice, really fun premiere. Everybody enjoyed it, and everything went really well and really safely, which we love. And then we had a very short premiere party. We got some fun branded merch, which, you know, this will probably come in handy on tour later down the road. And now everything is torn down and loaded in the trucks, packed up and ready to go to the next city. The crew is going to do that tonight on a sleeper bus so that they can get there really early and set up in the morning. Then we are going to be heading down there on the bus tomorrow morning, so that when we arrive, everything is all set up and ready to go, and we can do our sound check, our lighting check, you know, all of the validations and such. So that's the game plan for tomorrow. But for right now, I'm going to wash my face and get some dinner and go to bed because I have to be on a bus early tomorrow morning. But before I do all that, there is one thing that I do not want to neglect. So one of the things I knew from the very start was that throughout this whole Vlogmas series, I wanted to walk you through some of my favorite vintage sewing patterns, hitting one or two every day. And yes, that does in fact mean that I brought my favorite sewing patterns with me here in my luggage. Fortunately, they're all pretty small and very lightweight, but also knowing the somewhat chaotic and often exhausting nature of the rehearsal process, I did film a couple of them ahead of time. So for this very first vintage sewing pattern of the day, I'm gonna throw you to Shannon from the past. So today I thought we could look at a fun collection of patterns that I got off of Facebook Marketplace in Montreal. And there are some really good ones and then there are a couple other a little bit goofy ones. But let's start with my absolute favorite. In fact, it's one of my favorites of my entire collection, even though I haven't made it up yet, and that is this amazing packet of vests or waistcoats. And this is from Simplicity. Now, I'm not sure what year it's from. The envelope, as you can see, is actually quite damaged. So the part where there's supposed to be a year is no longer existent, but I will try to do some digging around, and if I can find the year, I'll throw it up here for you so you can see it. And like I said, I haven't made this one up yet, but I did poll my coffee supporters a long ways back to ask which one they thought I should make first, and fortunately, their number one choice was also my number one choice, which is also number one on here. It's this one, and very happy that they chose that one because that's such a fun, unique sort of crossover line. You don't see that very often. So that will be the first one that I make when I do get around to making it. And hopefully I will in fact be able to make it because it does look like the pattern pieces are there. They are definitely there. I just don't know if they're all there, but hopefully they are. I can tell somebody has already made this pattern once because some of them are actually already cut out. Like that little guy, all pinked out around the edges. So somebody's clearly already made it. Hopefully they were thoughtful enough to put all the pieces back. Now this is for a bust 30, so I will need to do some sizing up on it, but other than that, the pieces look like they're intact. The instructions are all here, so that's always a good sign. So this is definitely pretty high on my list of patterns that I would like to make up. Then next up, we have another pattern. This one's a McCall's pattern from the 40s as well. The year on the envelope actually says 1943, and it's this super cute peasant blouse pattern. So you've got some long sleeves here, you've got some super cute short sleeves. It's got that classic sort of, is that called a boat neck? Love it. Super adorable. I have some great fabrics in my stash that have this like lovely drape. Some of you, those of you who got fabric bundles from me, will also have some great drapey fabrics. Perfect for exactly this type of blouse. Now, I have not actually opened this envelope up yet, so don't know what to expect. The envelope itself is in better shape than the first one. And then opening this up, ooh, not only are they all there, but they look like they're basically uncut. So this one is a bust 36, which is fun because it means I won't have to size it up. If anything, I would have to size it down, but I actually kind of prefer roomier shirts. So this one, equally cute pattern. And then the next two that I got in this same bundle, it's kind of funny, they really don't go at all with the first two. So the third one that we have is this fun little pattern. Now, is there a year? I don't see a year on here, but just guessing by the style and the price, which is 25 cents or 30 cents if you're in Canada. I'm guessing it's probably somewhere in the 50s. And it is, like, it's still pretty cute. It's just not nearly as cute as the other ones. It's this kind of utility apron. They're calling it a cobbler's apron and or a poncho. And this one is likewise entirely complete. Everything looks like it's here. We've got the instructions with, again, the very fun artwork from the cover, this time just in black and white. And they have some kind of fun instructions in here, so like how to mark with tailor's tacks, how to mark with a tracing wheel and tracing paper, instructions for following the cutting layout. So kind of like nice, fun, comprehensive looking instructions. It'll be kind of fun to compare them to more modern instructions, which I feel are often lacking, if you didn't infer that already. And then the pattern itself looks like it hasn't been touched. It looks very complete. It is only one piece of paper, so hopefully all the various pattern pieces are in this one little bundle, but it is a fairly thick bundle, so I am hopeful. That's pattern number 3. Then pattern number 4. What? Like, what the heck? This one is definitely one of these things is not like the other. So we've got another McCall's here, Carefree Patterns from McCall's. Copyright, take a guess, 1975. This does not necessarily scream 70s. Oh, actually, okay, no, looking at her hairstyle, there we go. That does kind of scream 70s. So I am not necessarily planning on making this one, but it kind of came in the package, so I'll hang on to it. And I do kind of think it's funny it has my dog's name there. Cinnamon. So those are all the patterns that I got from that bundle on Marketplace. Will I be making all of them? No, probably not, but a couple of them are definitely very high priority. Well, I hope you enjoyed that quick look at the first of the vintage patterns. Thank you so much for joining me on this first video of Vlogmas 2023. If you have any questions about anything that you saw, circus, costuming, crafting, all that good stuff, leave them down below in the comments and I will try to get to them in future videos, of which there hopefully will be several in a short span of time. Okay, popping in with a little addendum, because since I filmed that original clip, it has come to my attention that there are different levels of expectations for Vlogmas and that different creators do them different ways, and that it is actually quite common to do one video a day between now and Christmas. And just to manage expectations, I want to be clear, I will not be doing one video every day. I'll be doing between 2 and 3 a week on a schedule that I have not quite yet determined. Definitely Mondays and Fridays, and maybe occasionally Wednesdays. I guess that's what I get for not doing my research, but I kind of figured I'll just do Vlogmas my own style. That's kind of how I run my whole channel here, but I didn't want anybody to be disappointed if they were expecting a video every single day. But there will be many more videos than normal, like I said, a couple a week, and if you do want to make sure that you are staying up to date with that, the best way that I have for you to do that would be to turn on the notifications here on YouTube, that little bell. I know that they can be kind of hit or miss. YouTube does not always actually send you notifications, even if you have that bell turned on, but it is the best way that I know of for you to stay up to date. Otherwise, just keep checking back on the channel at least every Monday and Friday between now and the 25th of December. So with that, expectations managed, back to the sign off. So join me tomorrow for some on the bus crafting. Hopefully that'll be kind of fun. Maybe I'll get started with some knitting and then just setting up in a new city, all that good stuff. So thank you so much for sticking with me thus far, and I hope your holidays are going very smooth so far. If you've already started on the holiday preparations, I hope those are going well. And if you haven't, I hope you enjoy the calm before the storm. Thank you so much for watching and joining me, and I'll catch you in my next video. Bye!